All right, today we're going to focus on a special type of dividing and multiplying, and that's ones that end up with an opposite pair in them. So knowing about using a greatest common factor of -1 can help you get more things to cancel out. What I mean by opposite factors would be things like having an x minus 4 in the numerator denominator and having a 4 minus x in the other one. They have the right two numbers, they have the right sign, but the one that is negative is different. Here the 4 is negative, the x is positive. In this one it's the other way around. The 4 is positive, the x is negative. And so what we'll learn how to do is to pick one of them and factor out a greatest common factor of -1, which would change which number is negative, so that we can cancel out the now same x minus 4's and leave just a -1, which is more simplified than if we left the x minus 4's. All right, so let's try that out with a division problem and a multiplication problem and see how you understand it. So first, division. Remember that we always change dividing into multiplying by the reciprocal. So our math problem is really x squared plus 3x over 5 plus x times 3x minus 9 now moves to the numerator, and 9 minus x squared moves to the denominator. Okay, so if we factor everything, whoa, crazy lead. If we factor everything, our numerator we need to take an x out of, leaving x plus 3. Our denominator could just be like it is. 5 plus x is factored. No GCF, no exponents. 3x minus 9, we would need to take the 3 out. And then here's difference of squares, but it's reverse of what we're used to. The 9 is in the front. So when we split that up, we'd have positive 3 and positive 3 to make the 9. And it's the x squared that's negative, so we need one positive x and one negative x to make that happen. Okay, so when we go to the crossing things out, finding things that are identical and crossing them out, x plus 3, both are positive, is the same as 3 plus x, both are positive. However, x minus 3 and 3 minus x are opposites. The wrong thing is negative. So I need you to get used to saying, oh, I can fix that. I can factor out a -1. Now, there is no rule on whether you factor it out from the numerator or the denominator. It doesn't matter if you take it out of the one that has the x the positive or the x the negative. We just take it out of one of them. So your answer may look slightly different than someone else's based on where the -1 is. I'll take it out down here. If I take out -1, that'll make my 3 be the negative. And negative divided by negative, my x will turn positive. And now it is, even though it's written backwards, it's the same meaning as this. My x is positive. My 3 is negative. You can switch it around if you want to, but I didn't want to take that step. So now that the signs are the same on those objects, they can cross out. So what I have left, I think, on the numerator is an x times a 3, so 3x. And what I have on the denominator is 5 plus x times -1. So I'll probably put that -1 at the front. Now, a person who had removed their greatest common factor from the numerator x minus 3 would have a -3x instead of the -1 on the bottom. They would have their negative on the top. But as long as the negative is in just one place, then it's equal and therefore correct. Okay, let's try one more. Here is a multiplication example. So we can go straight to factoring. X plus 2. Hey, there we go. that's a p. 6p plus 3 can divide by 3, right? 2p plus 1. Have to do AC method because there's a 2 in front. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. The two numbers that can multiply to negative 4 and to add to negative 3 are 4 and 1, if the 3 is the negative. So 2p squared minus 4p plus 1p minus 2. Split it down the middle. Take out 2p. So we have p minus 2. And oh look, it already is p minus 2. So we would say our GCF was positive 1 just to hold the spot, right? So we'd have 2p plus 1 and p minus 2. Below we have difference of squares, but again it's reversed. So 4 gets split up into 2 and 2 at the front, both positive. P squared gets split up into p and p at the back. 1 positive, 1 negative. Alright, I always feel like I'm losing those when we do AC method. So let me highlight them. And let's cross out common factors. So 2p plus 1, 2p plus 1. P plus 2 and 2 plus p are the same thing because both are positive in both. But p minus 2 and 2 minus p are opposites because the part that is negative is different in both. So whenever you see opposites, we need a negative 1 removed from one of them. It doesn't matter which. I have space on the bottom, so I'm going to do the bottom one again. I'm going to divide by negative 1, which will make the 2 negative and the p positive. And so now it's allowed to cross off with this one where the p is positive and the 2 is negative. So what we have left in the numerator is nothing. And what we have left in the denominator is 3 times negative 1, so negative 3. Negative 1/3. If you had removed the GCF from the top p minus 2, then you would have had negative 1 over positive 3, but still has the same meaning. All right, ask questions if you need.